Hello, I'm Jodie O'Brien, part of the AWI Extension South Australia team. In this case study, we're going to hear from Georgie Keynes from Keyneton Station on their eID implementation experiences. This case study was recorded in September 2025 at the eID workshop for profitability and productivity at Kapunda.
We've got a second case study, and I'll move out the line. And today it's going to be presented by Georgie Keynes. As I mentioned before, she's also the chair of our producer advisory panel. So thanks, Georgie.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me here today. I'm a producer from out at Keyneton, which is the other side of Anguston, and we're sort of up on top of the hill with improved pastures up the top and then follow down the Sedan Hill with native pastures. So we have been on an eID journey for quite a few years now. We got involved with a ram stud probably 12 years ago when my son was born, and then ran that stud for sort of 3 or 4 years and then got out of it. So when we started the stud, we got all involved with all of the information and started recording heaps and heaps of info, and then have slowly brought that back to our commercial side of things. So at the moment we're running 3,000 breeding ewes. 1,800 of them are self-replacing merino flock, and the remainder of them are bred to a border Leicester ram to create first cross ewes. And all of our wethers go through a feedlot system. We also, like Brett, use a containment system through the summer, which is really important for us. And then also sow some annual pastures for lambs to be grown out on. So like Brett, we developed a breeding plan last year through the eID tech group, which was really, really beneficial for us. We had spent many years just recording information because we had the information, we had the equipment, so we just record information. But since developing our breeding plan, we've sort of become a bit more strategic about what we're doing. The main goal for us is to have a low stocking rate but a high weaning rate. So the less mouths we've got on the property through the summer, the better off we are. But we want to get a high weaning rate so that we can get as many lambs on the ground to be able to sell and to run through the feedlot. So we want a moderate fleece weight, that's the F weight there, and body weight. So we don't want massive big sheep that will eat all our grass. We sort of more so want a moderate size. And also for me to walk them through the yards and everything, I don't want a massive animal that's going to boof me out the way. High yielding animals to go through the feedlot, and easy care. So as everybody wants with a merino ewe, you want something that's easy to look after, low dag, low breech wrinkle, high fat, so that they're maintaining a lot of the feed that you put into them on their back. So yeah, that's kind of the plan for what we're working towards with our flock. And we've also done the flock profile that Brett spoke about. So that's given us a bit of a benchmarking system to be able to monitor how we're going with our ram selection, but also benchmark how our ewes are going as well. So in terms of eID, all of our ewes have got tags in them because we've been on the journey for quite a while. We did start, like Brett did, just 1 year with the ewes. And then we were involved with a couple of different trials, so we got more tags put in. So all of our ewes are now tagged. So we've got historical information for all of them now, which is fantastic. This is the electronic tag on this side. This ewe's got a visual tag as well. We now don't use the visual tags. We just use one eID, so that's this one on this side. We just have too many ewes to be able to use a visual tag and match it up to the eID tag we've found. We'd rather just stick one eID tag in. These are our crossbred ewes. We do put a red tag in still for anything that's classed into the crossbred mob. That way, visually, we can always see that if the mobs get boxed up or one gets in or whatever happens, you can always visually see that there's a box up rather than having to run them through your auto draft or your wand or anything like that. So we still put that tag in for them. which works really well. In terms of tag retention, so when we lose a tag, we use a leftover ear tag colour, whatever we've got lying around in the box, and we just put it in the off side ear. So that way we know that it's not that age. So when they come through, you know that it's not a black tag ewe. And you just know that you have to mouth her when she gets a bit older. So every year those ones that come through, they get mouthed and they don't have a full historical data on them. But doing that, we still find it important to be able to still understand and have information on those ewes, even if it's not a full historical background. But yeah, you've still got the information when you find out that she's lost a tag. All of our ewes get boxed up, so they lamb down as maidens. So up until then, we'll be replacing their year colour tag. But once they all get boxed up, that's when we start putting them in the offside ear. And these are the things that we use our eID tags for management now. After recording heaps of information, this is the stuff that we've simplified and just find that this is the most valuable to us and the easiest information to collect that makes a difference. So we use it for classing our self-replacing merino ewes that come back through, classing our adult ewes, feedlotting our wethers, which Brett spoke about, and we've used it a little bit for fleece weights. And this is the equipment that we've got. As I said, we started many, many years ago, and we bought the Pratley Auto Draft, which has been wonderful. We use it with a panel reader there and the XR5000 up the top there. So when we first started, we were using different technology and it didn't work. Nothing spoke to each other. I mean, this was 12 years ago, but nothing spoke to each other. We'd get the sheep into the yards and Dad would be yelling at me because I can't get the technology to work and I'm on the phone to people and it was just horrible. So we simplified everything and just went to the one True Test product, and that's worked really well. So that's where we've gone with that one. Yeah, the XR5000, we bought them all together. This is the combi clamp. There is a video of it. Can I get the video to work? Do I just press play? Yeah, there we go. So this is how we use the combi clamp. This is just drenching ewes. We've put a panel reader on the other side of it. You can't see it here, but it goes on the other side. And then just recording up here. So we put scales on the combi clamp as well, which was really beneficial because we now use it for a lot of different things and can obviously use it for weighing as well. So that's been really beneficial. And the other thing we do, this is spreadsheets. So we sort the data and the information through spreadsheets on Excel. So yeah, really simple, really easy. A lot of it can be actually sorted through this machine as well as we're using it or as we're going through to class stuff. But yeah, we also use the spreadsheet system a little bit as well. So this is how we use it, classing our ewe hoggets. So we get a classer in. Bill Walker comes in once a year to class our ewe hoggets. And this is the information that we sort of go through. We run them through this classing box. We've got the XR set up there, so that's got all the information on it. And we use the wand to scan the tag and to record the information. So at lamb marking, anything that comes through that we don't like the look of, if it's got brown ears or if it's got sort of a halo or if it's got long primary fibres, they'll automatically get a red tag, which means that they'll go straight into the crossbred mob. So rather than having them in our self-replacing merino flock, we straight away put them into that mob. So that's a simple task, just putting a red tag in their ear, nothing to do with eID. At weaning, so when we wean our lambs, we wean them through the combi clamp. So we get a weight on them. So we get an individual weight that comes through. The panel reader reads the tag and then weighs them as we go through. And then we wean them in, keep all the single lambed ewes together, keep all the twin ewe lambed ewes together, and then put separate files, so weigh them in separate mobs, put them in separate files through the XR system. And then I download everything into the computer and we'll denote them as a single mob or as a twin mob. So that way we know when it comes to when it comes to classing, whether they were born as a single ewe or born as a twin ewe into the twin lamb mob. That way, when we're classing, we're not chucking out all the twins just because they're a little bit smaller. So it gives us that information. It's not 100% perfect. Obviously, if they're born into the twin mob, they might have been reared as a single. They might have lost their twin, but it just gives you that little bit of information. Before we were doing it this way with the weaning, we were just using tag sequences. So we'd just get our eID tags with numbers on them. Anything that was born in the single mob, we'd grab the packet from sort of 1 to 500, and that would be your single lambs, and then the twins would be the higher numbers. So that was a really simple way of not even using eID tags. You'd just know when you came to the animal, you'd check its tag and it has the number on it, and you just read it out and know that it was a single or a twin. We also record the year that they were born. We've only just started doing this because we run the mixed mob. We were sort of always like, oh, it doesn't really matter. We don't need to know what year they were. We can tell by the year colour of their tag. But as they're coming through with preg scanning information and big mob files, it's actually quite interesting to know how many old girls you have, so you know how many you'll be able to cull out later on down the road, or also, you know, what your maiden percentages are doing. So yeah, we've just started recording that information as well, really simply, again, with the spreadsheet, and just when you put in whether they're a twin or a single, you also put down whether they're what year they were born in. So makes it really simple. And we've also got growth rate information for that comes through with classing. So that way we're getting a bit of an idea about the ones that are doing really well, so we keep them in the self-replacing merino flock. And this is how we class our adult ewes. So as I said, we're really trying to push fertility and getting as many lambs on the ground as possible. So for that, we're, depending on the year, obviously it's seasonally dependent, but over the last 2 years we've been able to kick out anything that has only reared one lamb or has not reared a lamb or has been dry. So when the drought year happened, it made it really easy to make some decisions to improve your flock. Whereas years like this, when we're trying to hold on to a few ewes, we're making sure we keep anything that's had twins or anything, even if she's a 7-year-old ewe, anything that's had twins and is still in good condition, still has all her teeth and her toes and her teats are all good, then we're keeping them because we know that she's delivered 3 or 4 twin sets of lambs and can continue to do that. So this is the first year we're going to keep 7-year-old ewes, 6-year-olds that will be 7 next year. So yeah, we'll see how they go. So we record the information through preg scanning. So cousins come in, they run through the preg scanning and all that information gets recorded by them, and I just get the file back and upload it into my system. So really, really simple way of recording the information. You don't really have to do anything. We also record the lates now. So anything, we have a 5-week join, anything that's joined in the last week will be put in as a late. And then later on, if we come to culling or classing, those late girls will sort of have a bit of a cross against them if they've been late a couple of years in a row, because we're really trying to push the fertility to get as many lambs in the first join as possible. We also record did not rears. So at lamb marking, we'll go through all of our ewes and just take off anything that doesn't have an udder. A really simple system. They just get a red back and then they all get run as one mob. Don't get put back in with the lambing ewes, with the ones that have been lamb marked. And that way we will just bring them through the yards when we get a chance and scan them with the wand and just put them in as a did not rear. That way we know later on down the track when it comes to classing, if they didn't rear once or twice, or then they'll get kicked out because we know that they're not productive ewes. We also record DAG, which is something that we don't kick the ewes out straight away with, but we like to record it because we've found that it's a repeatable trait that's been happening every couple of years. Well, the last 2 years we've had ewes that have had DAG every year. So we just do that at crutching with the wand. My husband Toby crutches and I just scan the tag if they're a daggy one and put it in as DAG. Really simple way to just keep that information. We also record anything that's very, very skinny that comes out of the containment very skinny, so they're the ewes that we don't really want to breed from because they're obviously not doing very well in containment. Yeah. Fleece weighing, just wanted to touch on this. We were fleece weighing for many years, but we've recorded a video down here that's on the PIRSA website. If you want to see how we've done it, we've stopped doing that. We just found that it was too much information and we just weren't using it. We're rather focusing on the fertility traits and all of that stuff, and adding one extra trait into the mix, we just weren't using it to class anything. So we've just stopped doing it. It might be something we do later on down the track when we want to start putting a bit more pressure on the fleece weight, but we just found that we've got too many traits that we're focusing on. This is an example of the information that we have for our ewes. So we've brought some ewes out here for the demonstration. There's 15 girls out there. This is an example of the information we have for them. So this is their eID tag number that relates to the tag in their ear. This is the preg scan info for 23, 24 and 25. This is their class, so what they were classed as by our scanner. All of them merinos. One cull we found in here when we when we pulled them out the other day. So again, not 100% perfect, our system. We've been running her through and she's had 2 lots of twins and a single, so don't know what was wrong with her, but she's done okay. This is the year, as I said, we've just started doing this. So this is 2023, and these are all older girls that we haven't got the information for. And this is whether they were born into the single or the twin mob. And then this is if they had DAG. So she had DAG and this one didn't rear. So this just gives you a bit of a profile. There's a couple of late girls in here. These were all pulled out of the single merino mob, so that's good to see that they were all in the right mob. And then, a couple of late girls here. So this is just one that I picked out that we would be likely to cull down the track if we're looking to cull numbers. She's been late twice and she's had DAG. So that's more so the way that we're classing our ewes now, rather than just pulling out one whole year level. Just on feedlotting wethers, we're doing the same as Brett. We haven't done it before. A couple of years ago, we were putting everything into different pens based on growth rates and based on, how many kilos they're going to put on before we have to get rid of them. It was just a lot of extra work and a lot of shuffling mobs, and it was just not worth it. So now we just weigh into actual mobs based on their weights. But this year we will be removing anything that's low. So that came out of the eID tech group. Anything that's not putting on weight are going to get chuffed off. So we took weights for everything at weaning this year through the combi. So it'll be a really easy process when we bring them all through to weigh them to just kick off anything that doesn't do. So these are our mistakes. Not that those 2 little black lambs are a mistake, but they were very fun to watch last year when they were out in the paddock. Collecting too much data, everybody's going to tell you don't collect more data than what you need. You just end up getting overwhelmed and you're wasting time collecting data that you don't use. Not having a plan. We started with everything, and now that we've simplified everything, it doesn't take any extra time for what we're doing. Because we've got a plan and we know that what we're doing is worth it. Initial setup with the files, as Brett said, Michelle's done a great job setting everything up nicely for him. My files are an absolute mess. I can't remember whether I call things preg scan 25 or 25 preg scan, and that messes up all your files when you come to look through it all or sort things. So set it all up properly with a standardised system. And because we've got the wand and the XR, we've got information on different devices, and you're always having to remember to upload information onto both. So the wand is fantastic to use in the yards if it's just a small mob, or if you're starting out. That wand can do so many amazing things that you probably don't need the XR as well. But then we use the XR with the panel reader for putting through big lots of numbers. So we kind of need both, but it's just making sure you've got the information on the same device is a little bit frustrating. And this is just the future. We need to improve our yard setup because our combi clamp and our auto draft both go in the same spot. So you're constantly in and out and in and out. So that's really frustrating. I'd like to one day buy an OptiWeigh, which is a device that goes out in the paddock and measures growth rates in the actual paddock. So I think that would be fantastic, even for containment ewes or feedlot ewes or lambs out in the paddock on clovers. You'll know when they need to be moved because the information will tell you on your phone, hopefully. I also want to start recording breech wrinkle at lamb marking, but just need to work out a simple process that doesn't take an extra person because the lamb marking cradle gets pretty busy. So yeah, that's the next thing we'll probably start recording. And then getting involved in the eID producer group has also been wonderful. Yeah, hearing information from each other, and we'll hopefully go out and do a few farm visits and learn from each other, and getting involved has been, yeah, fantastic. So yeah, that's all from me. So thank you very much. Happy to take any questions or to chat to anybody throughout the day if you need more info.
Georgie, thank you so much for sharing your experiences with the implementation of eID. Case studies are made possible by funding from Australian Wool Innovation, the South Australian Sheep Industry Fund, and the Department of Primary Industries and Regions.